Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator Teresa Harper. I'm located in Oregon in the United States. Thank you so much for joining me and welcome to my channel. If you like what you see this evening, be sure to hit that like button. And then if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and do that and click on the notification bell so that you will receive notifications every time I go live. Okay, so let's see who we have on. Give me just a minute to get this up. Make sure everything's connected. Yep, there's that. Oh, let's change this to live chat so I can see everything. And then let's talk about what we're going to do this evening. Hello, Tracy. How are you doing after your busy day? Winding down? Okay, so we are going to be using the Notes of Spring March Product of the Month stamp set again this evening. I did a live on Tuesday night on Facebook with this and posted that video here on YouTube for yesterday. So you can go back and watch those projects if you choose to. And we're going to make one together tonight. And this card that I'm making is inspired a little bit by Lisa Stentz. She is a fellow demonstrator and artisan design team member. And she did a card that gave me some inspiration. This is not exactly like her card, but that's where I was inspired. So I've done a couple of things ahead of time. So let's talk about that. I've taken with the two-tone crumb cake cardstock and I've cut this leaf image. And this comes from the Beautiful Motifs, which was part of the Gallery Blooms suite in the annual catalog. So I'm just going to punch this out. And when I cut this, I did it on the light side. I came in here to get ready for this video and realized I had not done all the prep work. And so I quickly did my die cut so you didn't have to watch all that. Okay, so we've got that. And here's the two-tone. So I used the lighter side. There's the darker side. So you can see when I put those up next to each other, the difference. Okay. And then I took, in addition to the Notes of Spring, we're using the Scalloped Wishes dies and stamp set. And this just came back in stock. This is part of the March 2026 online exclusives. And of course, if you order it with the bundle number 167453, you save 10% over the individual piece prices. So I've taken this die from the Scalloped Wishes and I've cut it twice. I cut it once in Secret C, and we're not going to be using this. I'm going to set that aside for another project. We'll be using this piece. And then going to use my Take Your Pick die brush to quickly move these out of here. And then I'll use the pokey tool part to pop that out. So we've got that. Now we're not going to use this piece. I'm going to set that aside. Now you can, to avoid cutting in two different colors, and I often do, I'll take whatever color I'm not using. So in this case, I need the white to stamp on, and I want a Secret C background. So I'll take my Stampin' Blends and color that with the Secret C Blends marker sometimes. But we need to save time on the video, so I'm not doing that. I just cut it twice. So there we go. So now we've got these pieces. Let me put this back so I don't lose it. All right, and I think that's most of the die cutting. It won't be all of the die cutting. we're going to use this large die cut from the Scalloped Wishes, but we need to stamp first, and we're going to cut out the little dragonfly, but we need to stamp first. Okay, so our card base, hello Cynthia, welcome. I'm glad you're winding down, Tracy. This is a relaxing way to do it. Okay, so we're going to take our Secret Sea card base, and this is 4 1/4 by 11, and then I've scored it in half at 5 1/2 because we're doing a landscape card, and I don't want the tent part to go boop, so we're going to do it this way. Okay, so it won't, if it were sitting on a mantle, it's going to stay. Okay, so we've got that. I've got a piece of the mixed up patterns. I put it away, darn it. I think, yep, mixed up patterns. Here it is. This is the designer series paper in the mixed up patterns. So you get 2 each of 6 double-sided designs. This is the piece we're using. And then these are the other patterns in that pack. Okay. Very versatile pack of paper you can use with any of your stamp and die bundles. So we're going to be using this. I'm going to go ahead and put this on right now because I don't need to do anything else with this. And that's the reverse side in case you didn't see that. So this front side is balmy blue. And I really like the way the balmy blue looks with the Secret Sea. It's pretty striking. Okay, so we're just going to center that on there as best we can. All right, now let's go ahead and get our stamping done. And we'll move these pieces out of the way, except we're going to stamp on this. Okay, so let's go ahead, and the first thing we're going to do with this is we're going to grab our balmy blue ink. And I'm going to take this, and we're just going to take a blending brush, blend that up, and then I'm going to use the top half of this oval and put that in a little bit of balmy blue. I don't want it to get too dark. Okay, so that's done. That's all of the blending. Oh, I don't know why I put that away. Silly me. We're going to take from the Notes of Spring. This is the little fill-in image for the grasses, for the small grasses. But it looks a little bit like a cloud. So I'm going to stamp that off first. And then, and this was not my original idea. This was where I got some inspiration from Lisa's Stents. And I'm just going to put those on as little clouds. Now I can put that away because I'm done with that. Okay, now I need the crumb cake ink. And now I'm going to take these grasses that are also in the Notes of Spring. So I'm going to start with the large one. I'm going to ink that up. And I'm going to put that over here on the side. Okay. And then I'm going to lower it and stamp it again. You always want to, if you're going to re-stamp on something that you're stamping off, you always want to lower it instead of heighten it because of how the piece hits your paper. You'll get a harsh mark. Then I'm going to take this smaller one and I'm going to lower. And then I'm going to put some full strength in here and lower. And that just makes that look a little bit fuller. And then I think I'm going to bring back in this larger one again. And I'm going to put that right there. Okay. And let's go ahead and lower again. Okay. So now we've got our scene set. Oh, wait a minute. We're going to clean this. And I forgot to get this, so hopefully I've got enough wetness on here. I do, and if I don't, I have a little water bottle nearby. I can spray that. Simply chamois. Now I'm going to go ahead and take, actually, I'm going to use this larger one. Okay, and I'm going to just put some filler down here. There we go, just to put some grass. Okay, so we've got that. Now our scene is set. Now we need some paper. Let's get some basic white cardstock here. And I need to stamp from the Notes of Spring. I'm going to stamp the deer outline. And I'm going to do that in early espresso. So now I've got my little deer. We need to stamp our sentiment and some dragonflies. So we're going to use the same piece of paper, and our sentiment, happiest birthday wishes, comes from the Notes of Spring. I'm just going to stamp this down here in the corner. Hopefully as straight as I can. There we go. And then I'm going to take the, I hope I put that away because I don't have it on a block. So let's hope that, yep, the little dragonfly is right here. I was worried I lost it there for a minute. It would be bad. Okay, so now I'm going to take my little dragonfly. Let's get this off of here because that bugs me. That bugs me. Okay, we'll take our little dragonfly and we're going to stamp 2 of those. And then we're going to set this aside for a minute. I'm going to bring in a larger scrap. And from the Scalloped Wishes, I'm taking the large oval. And because this is such a large stamp, I'm going to ink that upside down. Make sure I've got that nice and even. Put this in the center here. Not in the center of this cardstock. So we're going to cut this out. I just need to make sure that I can get my die around it. Okay, so that is not all of our stamping. Almost. Let's bring that scrap paper back in that I had. All right. And then I'm going to take this leaf die cut and the crumb cake ink again. And I'm going to get those grass, that large grass piece. And I'm just going to take and stamp on here randomly, just to give our leaves, I'm going to go to the small one for the center right there, just to give our leaves a little bit of texture. Okay, just gives it a little bit of added interest. Okay, we can set that aside. That is all of our stamping. So we need to do a little bit of coloring for our dragonflies. I'm going to take the Wink of Stella and I'm just going to swipe that over the wings, and that's going to drag that Secret Sea ink throughout the dragonfly. Make it look like we colored it when we really didn't. And it's going to make it sparkly. So, yes, Secret Sea is a great color for pairing with everything. Okay, so there's that. Now, let's color our deer. And there is a filler stamp. If you don't like coloring, you can just ink this up and fill it in. And I did that the other night, but tonight we're going to actually color this in. So I'm going to start with a little bit of light petal pink. And I'm just going to put that in his ear. And then I'm going to go to the light pecan pie. And I'm going to color in the whole image. Oops, I went out just a tiny bit there. That's okay. I'm going to hand cut him anyway, so there are no dies that go with this set. And so most of the samples that I've made, I have not fussy cut them. I've shown you ways that you can use this without fussy cutting. But tonight, we're going to fussy cut this. So I'm just going to fill that in. I'm going to go back with my dark pecan pie. And where there would be shadows, where the body parts are coming together, here, I'm just going to add in a little bit of the dark, just to give it a little bit of dimension. Okay. Mostly where those body parts overlap there. Okay. And then I'm going to go back and just kind of touch that up a little bit with the light, where the light and the dark come together. Okay. And then, because this is such a wide piece, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to fussy cut this out. And I'm going to go pretty close to that black line. This is the black line here is very forgiving because it is so wide. So let's get in and get his tail cut there. And I'm going to turn my paper with my non-dominant hand and just open and close the scissors. With my dominant hand. And now you won't even know that I went slightly out of the line there. Okay, almost done here. This doesn't take that long. And the image is rather easy to cut. Not a bunch of sharp lines or anything. So there's our little deer. All right, now let's go ahead, while this piece is still relatively easy to hold, I'm going to bring in our trimmer. And I'm going to put this in my, I didn't cut it quite, I didn't do it quite straight down there. I didn't stamp it quite straight. Let's see if I can, I'm going to have to fussy cut that to try and straighten it up. It's such a tiny little bit there. Okay, then we'll put this in. Actually, this edge is nice and straight, so let's cut there. And we'll move that down just a bit. I just want just the barest white on top. And then we'll trim that down there. We want that fairly close. Okay. Now let's bring in our mini machine and we'll do our die cutting and then we'll be ready to put this together. So we've got our little dragonflies here. So I've already cut one, so you didn't have to watch me cut two. So we're going to go ahead and get that little dragonfly die. And we'll cut this out. So we need plate 1, plate 2. Actually, let's do this one. I think it'll be easier for me to get that angle. And this die has 3 little holes on it to line up with the dragonfly tail. So I like to line the tail up first and then line the rest of it. And then to make sure it doesn't move, I'm just going to put a little bit of tape in there and run that through. Okay. I still feel like it moved a tiny bit. Oh, but we have a beautiful image there. Okay, so I've got that. I'm not going to cut out that second one. I'll save that for another time. But I am going to bring in this piece that we stamped. Set this off to the side for just a minute while I line this up. We're going to line this one up with this. Get that all squared away. Line that up. Feel like I need to move it a little to the left. Okay, we've got that. And I'm actually going to put 2 pieces of tape on here just for a little added security. And then we'll run this through the mini. So all of the dies in the Scalloped Wishes set are compatible with the mini machine. All right. So we'll take that off. And now we've got that piece. Move these out of our way. And now we can start assembling. We have all of our pieces ready to go here. Okay. So we've got our scallop. And this is our piece that we're going to use here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this to this piece, and these will line up. So you've got all these little scallops here on the inner circle. Those will line up inside the outer scallops here. So let's just get that lined up. But you know what? I'm just going to, before I get too crazy, I'm just going to put my glue on so I only have to do it once. So I'm using the Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue. I've got it in this fine tip bottle. And I'm just going to put some dots, a few dots. Tombow glue is very strong, and so you don't need a lot. And it will hold this die cut fine. So let's go ahead and put this in. Now I will have to put a heavy block on this to get it to stick. So when you use just tiny little dots, it tends not to want to grab very quickly. Okay, so I've got that lined up how I want it. Pretty much just like that. I'm going to take that stamping block. I'm just going to give that a good press. Okay. All right, let's set that aside for just a minute. Then we're going to take our foliage piece here, and I'm going to cut this in two. So I'm going to cut this right here at that break. And then I'm just going to make sure that this is rounded like a leaf. It's pretty good right there. You don't really have to do much. And then I'm not going to need that piece, so I'm going to cut that down. We're going to lay this down on here. This is going to go about like this. Okay, so I'm going to set that like that for a minute. Let's move this out of the way because we don't need it. And that should be good and adhered. Shouldn't have any issues with that. Okay. And then we're going to add this to the centerpiece right here. And I'm just going to do that with some Stampin' Seal. You could pop this piece up, but I'm not going to because I'm going to pop this whole piece up. And I don't like to do double dimensionals on my cards. Postage is getting expensive and I don't need to add extra. Okay, so we've got that. Now the idea here is to take this and put this in here like so, and then nestle our deer amongst the foliage. So let's go ahead. We got to get this situated how we want it. I want this to be out here a little bit more like that. So let's go ahead. We'll pick up this piece. Take some liquid glue. Now you could use the adhesive sheets for this and it would really stick, but I want some free-flowing leaves at the top. And if I use the adhesive sheets, I don't get that. So I'm just going to put some dots. And as you can see, there is not a lot. Those dots are not big. They're teeny tiny. Okay. And then I'll just lay this down about where I want it here. Oops, it's stuck a bit. Like so. Now I'm not going to press it down in case I need to move it. I'm going to do the same thing here with this. A few drops of glue. And then I'll put this out here like this. And then I'll go ahead and lay this back on here. Set my deer in here. Yep, that's going to work. Okay, so now in order to get that to adhere how I want it, I'm just going to take a block and give that a good press. And then we'll grab some Stampin' Dimensionals. And we'll add some here. I'm about at the end here. About at the end. Just take a little piece here, snip that off. Always use your edges. I'm going to lay that right through the center to really hold that up well. And then we'll put this on here, like so. Put that down here just a bit. A little off center because you notice I did not press that down. I'm going to put my little deer right here. So for my deer, I'm going to use some more of these edges. And I'm going to put this right along the bottom here. Nestle that right up like that. And then I need a little tiny one for the ear. So I'm just going to cut a little piece here. Put it on his ear. Then I'll put just a little bit of glue right up there. And that's going to stick that to this piece. Let me close this so I can see your comments. Those scallop oval dies are very pretty. I really like them. And of course you can use them with anything, as I'm doing here. Did I get that other? Yep, I did. So I'm just going to nestle this deer in here, kind of like that. Okay. And I'm going to give his ear just a little tweak so it sticks up a bit. Looks a little more three-dimensional there. I'm going to take our oh, where'd my other one go? Am I going to have to, did I lose my, I have one. What did I do with the other little one that I thought was in this, that I thought was in here? You guys, I might have to die cut that second one I stamped because I can't find the one I die cut earlier. Okay, well, we're not going to waste time looking for it. It obviously flew away somewhere. Probably on the floor, maybe on my lap, who knows. Let's go ahead and grab that second one. And the die, let's put this up here out of the way. Again, I'm going to line up the tail in those dots. And then I'll line up the rest of it. Put a piece of tape on there to secure that. Grab my cutting plates. Put those in. Grab my mini machine. No point in wasting time looking for a tiny little die cut that I can redo in just a few seconds. So we've got that one. All right, we'll pop that out. All right, now let's go ahead and add these with glue dots. So I'm just going to take a little glue dot here and I'm going to roll that. I'm going to take your pick tool and I'm going to add it to the center of my dragonfly. And then we'll add this. I'm going to add one up here in the seam here. And I'll give those wings a little pinch so they can come up, and then we'll repeat that with the second dragonfly. And I'm going to put that over here, like so. And then we'll pinch those up. And finally, we'll add our, oh, we're not done with this. We're going to take what's left on our blending brush of the blue here. And then I'm going to take that little filler stamp again. With the balmy blue ink. Make sure I didn't put any crumb cake on there. Stamp that off. And I'm just going to put a little bit of texture on our sentiment so that it matches our scenery. Looks like a coordinated piece of cardstock. So then I'm just going to put this right down here in the corner, like so. And there's the front of our card. I did not add gems because I felt like I had paper embellishments rather than the gems, and I only used the 2 dragonflies because I figured I already had my triangle. All right, so for the inside of our card, let's go ahead and grab, oh, that's not going to be long enough. It's another one of those things that I didn't get done ahead of time. So I'm going to take a 1/2-inch strip of my mixed up pattern paper. Just going to cut that right off the bottom here. And then we'll go ahead and add a little bit of liquid glue. Add that to the bottom. Make sure, I don't like to have I like to put mine right at the bottom. But, you know, if you like a little white space below it, you go ahead. And then I'm just going to give that a quick trim with my scissors. And I'll dig through my stamps and find an inside birthday sentiment. I generally have to go to the older sets. So in the meantime, I'm going to take this grassy stamp set. I'm going to go right along the bottom there. And then I'll just leave that like that. I'm going to stamp another dragonfly here. So let's get a little of the secret C. Oh, none of those are secret C. Oops. I'm just going to take a little secret C here. And I'm going to put my butterfly right there. And my wink of Stella. And then there's the inside of my card. Pretty quick and easy. And I'll add that in. And then for the envelope, oh, there's my little dragonfly. Found him. You always find him after you stamp, right? I'm going to do the same thing with my envelope, which if I'd have been smart, I would have just done it all at once. Okay, only this time I'm going to add a little bit of the lower one, and I'll add a little bit of stamped off filling here. There. We'll add another dragonfly. And then this card will be completely finished with no naked envelope. Pretty easy with these stamps to put together some pretty quick cards. Okay, there we go. There you have it. I hope you like that. Oh, thanks, Cynthia. I'm so glad you guys like that. it really turned out pretty spectacular. And as you saw, it didn't take that much effort to really put out. And of course, I could have made it a little bit faster with the by not coloring my little deer, but I really like him colored. So there you are. Thanks everybody for joining me. If you like this video, go ahead, give it a thumbs up. I will be back here next Thursday night, I think. It is spring break for the grandkids, and so if it's a nice day, I might go to the beach. Double check. Otherwise, I'll be here at 7. I'll post on my Facebook page if I'm not going to be here. And Tuesday night, I should be live at 7. Again, spring break, grandkids, nice day. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll be sure to post if I'm not going live. Okay? If you don't see a post, assume I'll be here. Good night, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you so much. And those of you who are watching on the replay, thank you too. I'm glad to have you here. Good night.